Good old Honeywise. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. I am the American Panzerfaust. And this, of course, will be another new metal masterpiece episode. And in this episode, I wanted to talk about an album from a new metal band that I still really do enjoy listening to even to this day, even though their newer material isn't quite as good as their older stuff when they first started. They're actually a new metal band from here in Illinois, from Peoria, Illinois, which I always find it very interesting when, not even new metal, but I mean just metal in general. Just a metal band in general from Illinois or Chicago or just whatever. I always think it's pretty awesome when I find out about a band that's from somewhere around the general area of where I live and grew up and all that stuff. The album that I want to talk about today that blew my mind back when I was in high school when it first came out, LD50 from Mudvayne. Let's get to it. Alright, so this is not Mudvayne's first album. They did an album before this. It was originally titled Kill I Oughta, but then it was renamed to, I think it was renamed to The End of All Things to Come. I think that's the name that it was renamed to. I believe the one where it's just a pure red cover and it has like Mudvayne right here, and it's like in a heartbeat type font design looking thing. And that album was actually really solid too. It doesn't have any of the fantastic like funk metal like slap pop type stuff from Ryan Martini on that album, because Ryan Martini wasn't in the band at that point in time when they first released that album. So Ryan Martini joins Mudvayne when they start working on this album. And I consider this to be my absolute favorite Mudvayne album and a new metal masterpiece from Mudvayne, because when I first heard this when I was a junior in high school, I had a friend named Nadine that I used to sit next to when I was in high school in a social studies class, and and for whatever reason she still had like a tape deck Walkman, like a tape player Walkman where you could put cassettes in and crap. And for whatever reason she loved Mudvayne. Like she was obsessed with this album. She listened to it all the time, all the freaking time. And a friend of hers, when they bought the LD50 when it first came out, she told me that she copied it to a blank tape so she could listen to it on her tape player, which I still think it's funny listening to Mudvayne on a cassette through headphones like on a Walkman in like 2001 or 2 or whatever year it was. It's still, I still think that's crazy. But she's like, she turns to me like, I think it was like maybe the beginning of the class before the class started. We had like a few minutes or whatever. She's like, "Hey, do you ever hear this new metal band called Mudvayne?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard of them. I haven't really heard anything from them, but I've heard of them because my two younger brothers at the time liked them, but I never really had a chance to listen to anything from them at that point." So she played me the song "Death Blooms." And I was immediately blown away. Immediately. I had never heard, at that point in time, I had never heard a metal band, or even really any kind of metal or rock or anything like that had a rhythm section that sounded like Mudvayne. You had Ryan Martini doing finger taps and slaps and pops and all kinds of like funk dance jazz type stuff. it just gave the music a very, very, very different feel and texture than like a like a band like Godsmack, or just a band where the new metal or metal in general is just extremely straightforward. And there are bands like that do have really fantastic riffs, and the rhythm section is extremely rock solid, and like the 4/4 timing and 3/4 timing and crap like that. But Mudvayne blew me away because they had a sound that was just very different, and Chad Gray's vocals, they had just such a distinct sound. His vocals kick my ass too. I'm not even gonna lie. My brother eventually bought this album, and this is I guess my dad still does have like a surround sound type thing for his music, but it's on his PC. It's not really like an entertainment center type thing like it was when I was in high school. And he had a 5 CD changer, and me and my 2 brothers would constantly always put our CDs in there and just shake the whole house and crap, and our parents would always get mad or whatever. But my brother Kevin bought this album. He bought LD50, and we really got into it. We listened to Dig, Internal Primates, Death Blooms, -1. I mean, it's literally one of those albums where every track on this album is badass, except for just the filler tracks in between, like Monolith and Golden Ratio and crap like that. Those are, I consider those to be like Tool filler tracks, because Tool seems to always have those kind of filler tracks on their albums for whatever reason. But if you take out the filler tracks out of this album and just listen to the actual songs without the filler tracks straight through, it really is a new metal masterpiece for real. It's if I made a new metal top 5 or top 10 or whatever, I would seriously probably put LD50 from Mudvayne probably at maybe the 2nd or 3rd spot. It's just so different. It's so raw. It's so emotional and raw and angry and technical, and Ryan's bass and just everything about it. Everything about LD50 is just fucking fantastic. And if you don't know anything about Mudvayne, or you've only heard like the later stuff from Mudvayne and you've never heard any of the earlier stuff, like from the End of Things to Come, or this album, or the Beginning of All Things to End, which is technically like their first 3 albums, please, for the love of Jesus, start with this album. Start with Dig, Death Blooms, Internal Primates, Prod. Just listen. Just stop watching this video and just listen to it right now, please. Or download it on your iPod, or go somewhere and get a cheap copy of it or something, because seriously, this really truly is a new metal masterpiece, and I cannot recommend LD50 from Mudvayne high enough. I really do love this album a lot, if you can't tell already. And there's really nothing else for me to say. Chad Gray kicks ass. Ryan Martini kicks ass. All 4 of the guys in the band kick ass. This was during the period of when they were still wearing their crazy makeup, like Chad Gray had the blue-green mohawk looking thing, and like the silver face with like the black like corpse paint designs all over his face, and I can't think of the guitar player's name at the moment, but he always had the makeup on where he looked like a really spiky, like ladybug mutant looking thing. And Ryan Martini had this big ass orange mohawk, and he didn't wear a shirt, and he had like this fake mud looking shit all over him whenever they played live, and it's just fucking awesome. There's nothing else for me to say about it. Alright guys, thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing, all that business, And as always, love the American Panzerfaust. Drink some beer, beer, and keep it heavy.